Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mike Elko, Texas A&M going on the road to play Missouri. Now, I've been listening to how the national media is talking about this football game. It's become a very popular game to put Texas A&M on upset alert. I don't totally disagree with it because I have a ton of respect for how good of a football team Missouri is. There's one massive unknown here. Like, what are you going to get from true freshman quarterback Matt Zollers, who's making his first career start? I'll put my hand up right off the bat and say, I've been a monster fan of this kid ever since he came out of high school. It's a big body that's got a big arm, and he can absolutely spin it. I don't think it's crazy to say Matt Zollers, from an arm talent standpoint, offers more to this Missouri offense than Bo Pribula did. I think the bigger question is, how is he going to handle this moment against a Mike Elko coach defense that has 2 weeks to prepare for what they want to do? What are the most important players? What are the most important storylines? What are the most important things that Texas A&M needs to do to avoid the upset on the road? Now, I want to start with this, though. The thing that had me buying stock in Texas A&M way back to September, and I think many Texas A&M fans have heard me say this a lot over the last couple of weeks, and that is how comfortable Texas A&M is in winning games that look different. Look, if this game gets into a shootout, of which I'd be surprised if it does, because I don't think Missouri wants to get into a shootout against Texas A&M. Like, with all the firepower and the way this offense is played, Texas A&M can go blow to blow with everybody in the country on the offensive side of the football. What if Missouri tries to slow this one down, of which I think they'll try to do? Hey, lean into the run game, of which they do very well and have one of the best backs in the conference. Lean into the defense that I think might be one of the best defenses that Texas A&M has seen all year. Texas A&M is comfortable in those kind of games too. Like, Texas A&M can run the football. Texas A&M can play good defense. That is what I love about Texas A&M. There are some teams that would be going on the road to play Missouri that maybe are uncomfortable in that style of game. Think about a team like Ole Miss. Texas A&M, I think, is very comfortable in this kind of game, and I think that's what they're going to get. And I think Texas A&M can have some success doing that. Now, if it gets into a shootout, then I heavily favor Texas A&M because I just think they have more firepower, specifically throwing the football, than Missouri does. What does Texas A&M need to do? That's what we're going to get into. Before we do, and as always, the Texas A&M fans, appreciate you guys. Y'all know how much fun I've had talking about this football team. The amount of support this fan base has shown the boys, been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, the biggest objective in this football game, make Matt Zollers prove to you that he can beat you with his arm, because he's still a little bit of an unknown. And you look at Missouri and say they want to run the football. All right, well, it's one thing for me to get up here and say, hey, Texas A&M needs to stop the run. Yeah, pretty obvious. Well, what does Texas A&M need to do in order to have success against this Missouri ground game? Number one, and the thing I really like about Texas A&M's matchup here, is we know how Missouri wants to run the football. A lot of outside zone, a lot of stretch concepts that get this defensive line moving laterally. The thing I love about Texas A&M here is I think you got some really good athletes along the defensive line. Know who I think will be most effective in this game? Give me the Iowa State transfer, Tyler Oneedham. He's a powerful kid, but he's a really good athlete, and they're going to ask him to move laterally. I think Tyler O can provide that skill set in a really meaningful way. Like, we've leaned on Albert Regis a lot this season to be a force against the run, and he's done a very, very good job. I think Tyler O and probably DJ Hicks are the more important defensive linemen in this game, because I think they're better suited to deal with this Missouri rushing attack. Number two, and this is the biggest storyline, because when we've seen Texas A&M struggle on defense, which hasn't been a ton, but there have been some struggles, the biggest struggles come from not fitting the run the right way. And that outside zone concept that Missouri likes to run, Ahmad Hardy's going to pick and choose what gap he wants to hit. If you are Texas A&M linebackers, Torian York, Damian Sanford, you have to be really disciplined at fitting the run the right way. Lastly, I think you got to involve these safeties. And one of the things I like about Texas A&M is, hey, both Dalton Brooks and Marcus Ratcliffe are very, very comfortable coming into the box in supporting the run. Got to take good angles and got to bring the ball carrier to the ground, but they're both very, very comfortable firing downhill. If I'm Mike Elko, that's kind of how I'm starting off this game. I'm getting really aggressive with my safeties, stopping the run, and make Matt Zollers beat me vertically down the field, because I'll say a matchup that I like for Texas A&M is these boundary cornerbacks, Des Ricks and Will Lee. I like that matchup against Missouri's boundary wide receivers. Now, how to stop this Missouri passing attack, it is take away Kevin Coleman, who is the slot wide receiver for Missouri. Big game. Arguably the most important player on this Texas A&M defense this week, Tyreek Chappelle at nickel. Got to be sticky. If you can take away Kevin Coleman and force Missouri to go to other pass catchers on this offense, this is not me getting up here and saying Missouri doesn't have other guys who can be answers, but it's very clear that the number one answer is Kevin Coleman. And it's very clear that if you can take away Kevin Coleman, the Missouri passing attack's a little bit less comfortable. Schematically, how do we plan on doing it? Can Tyreek Chappelle be a guy that can be sticky in man coverage against Kevin Coleman? Those are all conversations. You take away Kevin Coleman, you deal with this Missouri rushing attack, and I think you put yourself in a really good spot to have some success. The last thing I'll say is, I actually have two things to say. Number one, the bye week should really help, because it's not a secret in terms of Missouri's not going to come out and do a lot of different things. Like, we know how they want to run the football. Texas A&M has had 2 weeks to rep against this outside zone stuff. And so I think having that extra week to prepare for this specific offense that's not going to deviate all that much, I think that's really important. Offensive side of the football. And this is going to be some low-hanging fruit conversation, but I just truly believe this is kind of the storyline here. Like, I can't point to a particular part of this Missouri defense and say that's where you attack them. Because you look at the numbers and say, all right, top 20 scoring defense in the country. They're only giving up 4.3 yards per play, which is top 8 in the country. They sack the quarterback 10% of the time. That's top 10 in the country. They only give up 3 yards per carry. That is 14th best in the country. They only give up 6.1 yards per pass, 13th in the country. They're very sticky in coverage. They tackle well in space. They can get after the passer. They can stop the run. Like, they do everything you want to see defenses do to be really good in this conference. Well, how does Texas A&M manufacture points? How does Texas A&M manufacture success? I don't know if Texas A&M can go on the road and just play bully ball and run the football. We'll see if they can, because I promise you Texas A&M go and try. Here's the key, in my opinion, the explosive plays, your difference maker, something that Texas A&M didn't have last year, right? You go back to the struggles that Texas A&M had in 2024. They did not have those players, especially when Le'Veon Moss went down, that could change a football game. Do I think Texas A&M is going to move the football in every drive they have in this football game? No, probably not. I got too much respect for how good this Missouri defense is. But what I think Texas A&M can lean on here is, I think you got the 2 best players on the football field. That's Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. Although we might not be super efficient, how explosive can we be? Very similar to how that Notre Dame game played out a couple months ago. It's like Marcel Reed had, a 50% completion percentage in that game? It wasn't like Texas A&M was super efficient, but how did they get to 40 points? Because they had guys that could change games. You have those guys. Give them opportunities. We don't need a ton. I think 28 points gets you the win on the road here. We just have to continue to give opportunities to KC, to Mario Craver, obviously what Marcel Reed can do as an athlete too. You got difference makers all over the football field. Explosive plays will win you this game. Can Texas A&M go out and do it? Pause it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. I am so fired up for this football game tomorrow. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.